if you've ever wanted to simulate climbing a mountain in a board game format, well, then this game called Summit might be the type of game that you're into. So let me start by saying there are a couple ways to play. You can play competitively against other players or cooperatively with friends. And so I love these types of board games because it gives you kind of an evaluation of how people think and what people are going to how they're going to act under pressure, if people are going to work with you, if they're going to like try to manipulate the situation. It's a lot of fun, especially in my line of work. This gives me a wonderful indication of how people are going to act when we're doing deals together, real estate deals together. So let me start off by saying this is one of Trey Parker's favorite games. I was listening to a podcast with Tom Vassell and a couple other people, and they were talking about this particular board game and the fact that Trey Parker, who's one of the creators of South Park and Basketball and a bunch of other movies and shows, loves this game. And I was like, okay, my friends and I decided we would give it a shot. Every once in a while, I'll drive from Austin, Texas, here where we are, all the way up to Chicago, where I'm originally from, and we will sit for almost a week at a time and just play some board games together. Okay, so enough of that history about what's going on. I'm showing you two sides of the board. This is currently the cooperative side. I'm going to flip it over real quick so you can see the competitive side, and I'll give you a better shot here in a second. But there are only some slight variances. Apparently, a lot of people love the cooperative side and don't like the competitive side. It looks like the main difference for competitive is that you have this tracked here, and it talks about karma points, whether or not you're willing to help people out or harm people, and based on that, you'll gain or lose karma points. Okay, let's talk about the objective of cooperative play. The whole point of the game is you're going to start off with a base camp, and I'll set it up here in a second, but you're going to start off at a base camp, you and your group. The goal is to climb to the top of the summit of this mountain and then make it back down. One of you, if one person makes it to the top and down, the group wins. You can score extra points by getting everybody to do that or more people to do that, but it's hard enough. That's one thing I like about this game. It's actually hard enough for one person to make it really well. And the reason why is because as you're climbing the summit in the board game, and similarly to real life, I would imagine, there are often dangers that happen. So you might be hit with a couple different types of events, which we'll go over in just a second. And it's one of those things where you have to manage your air, your speed, how much weight you're carrying, and then you have these guides that are there to help you out called Sherpas. So let's start with the setup. First, you'll want to have players choose their character, and you can see each character has a different country of origin, slightly different attributes as you're going through. And it's great because these attributes will affect how the player plays. There are also abilities up at the top. So for example, this person, Joseph the Fourth, is from, it looks like France. Probably just un peu de français myself. And so right here, his ability is, on your turn, you may consume food to gain health. One food to gain 2 health. And it's great because if you look at the way these tableaus are set up, you'll get a little cube, which I'll show you here in a moment, to set it in these pockets for your attributes. So this is the food icon, air for when you're climbing and descending, weight, how much weight you're carrying, this is your health, and this is your speed, how fast you're able to move. In this game, your speed indicates how many places you're able to move. It's wonderful. And the other thing that makes this really cool is as you are gaining and losing attributes, let's say food, let's say you go from 5 food to 4 food, you see how you pass this weight icon? Well, that means that your weight will now go down because you have less food to carry. That right there is what makes this game really, really, really fun from the jump, right at the setup. And it's great because each character has a story too. I'm going to start off with Vince. I'm going to talk about him because, like me, he's a real estate broker from the United States. It says, "Don't let my constant smile and infectious laugh fool you. I'm all business all the time. I've built my reputation with my kindness. And I've always looked out for the little guy. I believe in being the change I want to see in the world, even if that includes taking you out of it." This is just one more area for me to dominate, and I won't let anyone stand in my way. So I'll leave no one else standing on this mountain. So watch out. So let's say we're setting this up for 3 players. I'm going to focus on Vince here. So for Vince, I have 9 food. Great. What else? 4 nitrogen, 4 weight. So 4 nitrogen, 4 weight. Great. And then 10 health and 5 speed. 10 health. Awesome. And on the left, and 5 speed. So I want to point this out. If you look at your numbers up at the top 3, right, these top 3 sections, these are ascending, and then these bottom 2 are descending. And so like I had said before, once our weight goes down, I cross this, that means my speed actually goes up. I can move faster. It's a very, very, very cool tableau. And now you always end up with 2 extra cubes. And so they match your color, of course. Your cubes are going to go where your Sherpa has their food and their air. So I'm going to go here, 11 and 6, and that fills my Sherpa. You'll see these other 2 card slots. That's going to be for me to put items. So next we're going to choose items for our Sherpas. I'm going to start grabbing some of the other things from our box. So we've got, I put the cards together here. So we have item cards, pretty straightforward, and I'll show items in a second. We have turn cards for each player so that they know what turn order to take or what to do during their turn order. So every player, I like to give them one of those. All right, we'll pass that out to every player. And then these are our summit or event cards. So just a quick example of a couple event cards. Medical supplies, you may immediately gain 2 health or remove one of your face-up cards or tokens. Great. All players on your and adjacent tiles lose 2 health. Okay, so that's good. So you get to see an example of those and an example of some of the item cards. Your guide. Increase tile hand size by 3. We'll talk about what the tiles are in a second. Freeze dry. Discard to satisfy up to 2 food. So we realize that we're managing food and air up and down as we're moving up and down the summit. And so this card lets us discard the card in order to satisfy food, which is great. So to gain yourself 2 food. So I'm pulling these out. We have a bunch of icon tokens. These are competitive play cards that we're not using, so I'm not going to touch those. Here are our dice. Blue is the event die, and this one is your weather die. We'll come to that in a second. We have our items that are ubiquitous across the group. So everybody in the group will receive a benefit for this, and you get to choose one of these per game. We'll talk about what those are in just a little bit. We have our climbers here. So our climbers look just like mountain climbers. And then we have a weather token that's going to go on the board and move up along the board every time that we roll one of these on the dice, which we'll come back to in a little bit. All right. And then the last thing that I want to show is we have a few tokens for if we make it from the bottom all the way to the summit. We have a token that we place at the top, and then we start going back down. And then we need to choose a base camp and a summit. And you can see on the back of these, it shows 4 to 6 players. These are 1 to 6 players, and then these are 1 to 3. And so if I flip these over, this is the summit. So I'm going to put this right at the top. And then this is the base camp. Now, based on the level of difficulty you want, the base camp can start here, 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 or here. And so for us, because we're playing 3 players, I'm going to start it on normal. I believe that's the recommended level when you're first playing. All right, so I'm going to get my guys at the base camp. We've got a red player, a yellow player, and a purple player. We are taking the blizzard track and putting it at the bottom here, again, based on difficulty. So this is your beginner level. And then this one is for time of day. We have not played with the time of day yet. I believe that this is optional or advanced play, which is really, really a cool concept. Okay, so now I want to explain the tile types. There are three tile types. Hopefully you can see this pretty well. There are three colors. This blue is for an icy tile. This yellow is for a thin tile, and it has to do with air. So as you move onto this tile, you will have to sacrifice an air. And then this is your neutral tile. We'll come back to how these work as we're laying tile for our first turn. So a couple more things for setup. Each person grabs 3 random tiles, unless you have an ability that says you can hold more. So each person gets 3 by default. And actually these go face up because remember, we're working together, so we want to be able to see what each person's doing. I don't know if I mentioned, but on the turn card, there are 2 sides. One is for competitive, one's for cooperative. So we want it on the cooperative side. You can see it looks like a handshake. And then we want to make sure that we have our event cards ready to go and that we have our item cards shuffled and ready to go. And now each person gets to pick 2 item cards. Okay, so we can do them at random, or the rule book might suggest that each person starting out gets a certain type of card. Now, the item cards always start on your Sherpa. And so remember, this is your Sherpa. So let's say I want this extra layers. That's card number 1 for my Sherpa. And then the next one is trekking poles, also for my Sherpa. I'm actually going to read this trekking poles. It says increase speed by 1, increase health loss by 1 due to slide, fall, or accident events. That's great. But when I put this, right now this is on my Sherpa. If I want to carry it myself, which is something we'll talk about in a little bit, you'll notice that there's a weight assigned to the card. So I want to keep that in mind because right now my weight is set here. If I end up taking this over and I need it from my Sherpa, well then I have to go up 2 weight. Very, very, very important. On the back of the rule book, there's a whole player aid icon list, which is great. Clarifications for basic rules, and then this index and weather die. And so this weather die shows you based on how you roll, what effects are going to happen. And so now we'll go through like a single turn so you can see how it would be played. Oh my gosh, before that, we have to choose which item we want to use for the group. Remember, these items you get to use 1 time for anybody in the group. It also serves as a first player token, first player marker. And so let's say I was going to go first. I would keep this and the dice with me as the first player token, and different from other games, after I've done my turn, I pass it on to the next person. So let's go through it. All right, the on my turn card says move up to the number of spaces based on your card, placing tiles as needed. Okay, so I see that I have these tiles available. I'm going to choose, let's see, this one here. I am the red guy, so I'm starting, this is my point. So I have 5 spaces. 1, I need to place a tile in order to continue going. And what's important is that I actually have to put the tile that fits in one of these shapes. So as an example, I can go this way, I can go this way, I can go this way, but a few caveats. The edge of the rope needs to touch one side. That's number 1. And number 2, I don't want, well, obviously it has to be nearby. That's really important. But I can't do something like this. Like I can't do this. This is really important, right? I can't just magically make a spot, right? I can't do this. Doesn't fit. So I have to make sure that it aligns well. Okay, so I've moved 1 space. I'm going all the way to 5 according to my tableau. So 1, 2. Now here's the problem. This yellow line, this yellow rope means I now lose an oxygen. So here I am. I'm going to lose an oxygen. Because I lost an oxygen, my weight actually goes up 1. Okay, so I look at my weight. Now I have, or sorry, down 1 because, yeah, there we go. So I lost an oxygen, my weight goes down 1. So now my speed, I also passed the speed. So my speed goes up 1. See how that works? Each one affects the other. Okay, so I've moved 2, 3. I have to place another tile. So I will, let's look at this one. 4, 5, okay? I do not know if this is immediately resolved. I don't think it is. You'll have to check the rules for that. But I'm on this spot and I'm on an icy tile. So next it says I have to roll and resolve event and weather dice. So I grab my dice, I roll, and fortunately I get to do both. So this is the event. You always do that one first. You grab one from here. We are medical supplies. You may immediately gain 2 health or remove one of your face-up cards or tokens. So I'm not going to remove my face-up cards or token, but I am going to see my health is all the way up. I really don't have anything that I want to do. You thought for sure this old kit would have been empty, but you were happily wrong. So now this is done. I don't get to use it for anything. But now I get to do my weather die. My weather die, it shows in the rule books, it actually means that I lose 1 food. So I'm at 9 food, I'm gonna go to 8 food, it doesn't affect my weight. We're done. Now I have to pull another 2 tiles to get back to normal. It is a lot easier to keep them in the box, making sure you shuffle them each time. And then next, I pass the active player token to my next player. And generally you go clockwise. And then I pass them the die. And that is our first turn. As you see, this is a really cool game for a bunch of reasons. You have cooperation, you have this Sherpa assistant. I didn't talk about how it all works together. So basically, if you're on an adjacent tile to a friend, you can trade goods. If you're on a base camp, you can trade with your Sherpa. If you pause for a little bit, you might be able to regain health. There's just so many things you can do. Each tile forces you to think about placement because you want to think, okay, do we want to meet up later? Every time you roll the die, you have an event. Most of them are bad. You have an event that you have to resolve, and then items. Sometimes you will drop items. Sometimes you'll get a card that says drop all your other items and now lose half of your air and half of your food. You might you might have something like a wingsuit where once you get to the top of the summit, you can jump off the mountain and hope to land at a base camp. But in order to do that, you have to roll a die. And if you make it, great. If you don't make it, well, you're dead. Like it's really, really, really fun. There's this difficulty tracked. Like I said, there are events that you can roll where it increases the difficulty a la Pandemic along the way as you're playing. And so it might be that everybody loses a food. It might be that everybody loses 2 food and 2 air. And so it's all this game of management of resources with your Sherpa, with your friends, working together to climb this mountain and then making it back to the end, hopefully all safely. So if this is something that sounds appealing to you, I rate this game very, very highly. I'm not going to give it a number because everybody, it's kind of relative. At the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. We've played a lot of board games lately, and it's very similar in my mind to a game like Subterra. Subterra is one of those games where it's tile placement as you're walking and you don't know what that tile is going to look like. A little different from this. And so that element of surprise makes it a little more unique, but I'd still edge this one out a bit more, saying that I enjoy this game a lot. So Summit is up to 6 players. The ages say 14 plus and about 20 to 30 minutes playtime. I think the thing that nobody talks about is if you are getting ready to play some games, you already know the rules and you know that you have people coming over, have the game set up. Make sure you watch a video like this that talks about the rules so that it's ready to go when people show up. And that should make your experience a whole lot better. Thanks for watching. I'm Ian of Austin. If you're in the Austin, Texas area and you want to play games, I host like a monthly board game night at Emerald Tavern. If you like this video and you want to support the channel, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video.